What's up, folks? Where else would you rather be on a Friday night than talking some wrestling with some of the best podcasters on the planet? Who am I kidding? Nobody knows us. Anyways, JAYBONE here for Smash This Podcast. Cracking a cold one. This is the place to be nonetheless. Joining me tonight, because I think he honestly felt sorry for me, is Mr. Heel himself, Mr. Max Magius, fellow Rambler. How you doing tonight, dude?
For you, dude, I'm in this for the profit. You promised me $20 if I came on your show tonight.
We'll settle that like after the show. I promise. Okay.
And really, should you be drinking? I mean, you just had like major surgery, life-altering major surgery. And the last time you drank during a podcast pretty recently after having said surgery, you know what? Keep drinking. It's okay.
I keep my limit to 2 now. It's don't worry. I have babysitters here that are no, I'm kidding. All right. So yeah, man, this Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view from the WWE. This
can I digress a moment on the subject of the chamber?
Go ahead.
As we all know, I was unable to make it to Ramblin' the other night. Unfortunately, my schedule conflicted with the time everybody was available, which is weird because being the most important Rambler, I think we just work around my schedule, but that's beside the point. The point I'm here to make is I'd like to give a shout out to Dizzy. I want to tell you, Dizzy, that I am very proud of you for getting the right week for this pay-per-view.
As in not scheduling a results video before it happened? Is that what you're talking about?
As in not trying to schedule the predictions podcast for next week.
Yes.
After it happened.
Yeah, we've run into that before, quite comically. So yeah, shout out to the other Ramblers. And as long as we're doing shout outs, I saw something that kind of bothered me. So I just want to give a shout out, send some love out to a fellow podcaster, Mr. Anthony DeStefano, Mr. Rant with Ant. His brother has fallen quite ill within the last 24 hours. So just want to send out some positive thoughts, some prayers, some thoughts his direction as his family's going through some stuff. So shout out to you, Ant. We're thinking about you tonight. So
Ant, you sexy bitch, come on anytime. We'll talk about how sexy you are. Ant's brother, get better soon, man. Real soon.
Oh yeah. We're hoping he can come out of this. Yeah. Hashtag cancer sucks. All right, so yeah, let's get into this card. Now it's kind of interesting because they've only had 2 weeks, not even to promote this, and
listen, 2 weeks to promote. Okay, great. They've had 2 weeks to promote it. It's difficult to promote in 2 weeks. But did they really only spend the last 2 weeks booking it, or did they hand it over to a meth head from my job? Because it looks like the meth head from my job may have booked this. For those of you that don't know what my job is, I monitor UAs. Anyway, I think a meth head must have written this card.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely like the matches, although I would have done a few things differently with them. I would have honestly added at least one, if not 2 more Elimination Chamber matches, just to get some money's worth out of the chamber. I would have put the tag team turmoil in the chamber. I also would have put all 6 women that are involved in matches this weekend in a big women's championship chamber match. I mean, if we're talking about the whole Raw versus SmackDown rivalry, where Raw recently, a few pay-per-views ago, I believe Hell in a Cell was the one before Survivor Series. Is that how that goes? Am I close to that?
Um, it sounds right, but you're a Packers fan, so it's probably wrong. I'll find out.
It was like last fall-ish, okay? But nonetheless, while you're looking it up, you had Charlotte versus Sasha Banks in a first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. In my opinion, SmackDown could have one-upped that big time and had the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match. What do you think about that? Is that something you would have liked to see, Max? What do you think, dude?
I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, here's what we've got. We got Nikki Bella versus Natalya. Why? I get that. They've got a storyline, but it's something that's going to be a good match. You've got Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. Why? You have some people on there that I feel deserve the shot at the title more. And you got Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. I'm not going to ask why. I'm going to say, why didn't we do this sooner? This looks like it's going to be an entertaining match. But overall, you have 6 women in 3 different matches for an Elimination Chamber again. Oh, yeah, 6. Why didn't we put them in there?
Yeah, and I would have, and then to add an extra match outside of the chamber, because I honestly don't think there's quite as many guys to put against Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. I could be wrong. I'd have to relook at the roster a little bit. But I would have taken Dean Ambrose out of the main event and had him defend his Intercontinental Championship separately against like Dolph Ziggler, or throw him in a 4-way match against Kalisto, Cruz, those 4 guys, something like that. And then put someone else in the chamber, say Harper, and give Randy Orton a little time off. He could have still been there, a presence, but just to make sure that he's healthy, because he's had so many health issues in the past, like, multiple injuries and out for significant periods of time, to make sure that he's ready for Mania. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the matches are okay, but I would have changed it up a little bit.
I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited about the Orton-Harper match. You know what I would have done, though? I'd have put that number 1 contendership, that main event at WrestleMania, I'd have put that on the line if I had booked it. That's me.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad, dude. That's a good idea.
I'm not saying necessarily that it needs it, but I think it would have hyped up the anticipation just a little bit more, especially with only 2 weeks to promote this card. I'd have put that main event spot on the line.
Yeah, and certainly would have thrown more importance on the match, because right now it's just kind of a grudge match of sorts. I think inter-family turmoil.
Well, my understanding is that the whole point of Orton joining the Wyatt family was to drive a wedge in them and tear them apart. By the way, great job, success, if that's what the booking was.
Yeah, except that he still has this love affair with Bray Wyatt, so it's...
Maybe he just seems to have a love affair with Bray Wyatt. Maybe that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, let's start going over this card. Let's start with the pre-show match that was added, I believe, earlier today. Now, of course, there could always be more matches added to the pre-show between now and Sunday, which I have no doubt they'll throw something in there with someone. Who I don't know, but we'll see. We've got a pre-show kickoff match with Kurt Hawkins, who we almost never see, versus one of my up-and-coming favorites, Mojo Rawley.
Listen, let's be honest. This match is a pre-show match, and it's a pre-show nightmare all at the same time. You are a huge fan of Mojo Rawley, but then again, you're a huge fan of the Packers. You're a huge fan of Goldberg. Listeners out there, as you're listening to this, I have just made it clear why you can't trust anything that this man is a huge fan of. If you didn't catch it, please see the last 3 months. Anyway, this match belongs on the pre-show. It should stay in the pre-show, and I may not even watch the pre-show just because this match has zero interest for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mojo Rawley. I'm just happy that they're. How many times in the past that you've had, say, one half of the Usos injured, and they don't do anything with the other half of the Usos while the other one is healing up? You're sitting on the shelf, and your value to, say, the WWE universe is going down rapidly by the week. The fact that they're taking an up-and-coming guy like Mojo Rawley and they're still doing something with him while Zack Ryder is on the shelf, I think is really freaking cool.
Okay, but here's the thing. The Usos are kind of a package deal. Let's be fair. They are. Okay? You have to take that into consideration. Family thing. They built it as a family thing. They've booked it as a family thing. They've hyped it as a family thing. They've promoted it for more than 2 weeks as a family thing. It's not right to have one without the other, even if one's injured. Whereas Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, sure, they've pretty much been a tag team since Mojo Rawley found his way and stumbled into a contract with the WWE back in his NXT days. Zack Ryder has been there to help Mojo, and if you ever watch the show on WWE Network where they basically go behind the scenes of NXT, Ryder has his concerns about Mojo, and I think that they're very legit concerns, and I completely agree with them. I mean, think about this. Mojo Rawley only cares about the partying and the fame as far as how he comes across to Zack Ryder. And Zack Ryder thinks he needs to be more focused on the working out and the training and stuff like that. Somebody must have thought that Mojo was ready to come to the main card. Maybe he is, maybe it isn't. It's not my job to make those decisions. But, you know, honestly, Mojo and Zack don't necessarily need to be as a tag team to be on air. That's something that the Usos need because they are a family, and that's how they built this. I mean, part of their promos is calling each other Us. They have pushed the blood side of it. I mean, this and until they turn them on each other, which may or may not happen, you can't really have one of them out there without the other.
No.
Whereas Rawley and Ryder, honestly, those guys are interchangeable. I think Connor would have better success as Mojo's tag team partner than Connor's having as Victor's tag team partner.
Well, that's a stretch, but I hear you. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I still think it's, it's even though it is like a pre-show match, like I said, I still think it's it's a note of positivity. So nonetheless, and I don't think it really matters who wins this. There's no big significance behind it. I'm glad they're doing something with Kurt Hawkins. I mean, after 2 months of promos, they try to make such a big deal about some of these callbacks that they did. And it's like, and they just haven't done jack shit with them. It's been embarrassing. I hope he's getting a nice paycheck. So, also, for Hawkins, I'm glad they're doing something with him. That was actually one that I was looking forward to, also kind of hoping that they put him back with Zack Ryder, and form the, shit. What the hell did they call them back in the day? The Edge Heads and whatever else they call them. The Major Brothers. Something, yeah. But so yeah, I'm rooting for Mojo Rawley in this one. Any other thoughts on this, dude? Who do you want to see win this one?
Honestly, unless Zack Ryder has healed up enough to show up and have the funny moment of looking at both of his tag team partners for a minute. I honestly don't care. I kind of, as I stated when I pointed out that if it became Green Bay versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I was hoping that neither team showed up. That's kind of where I'm at on this.
You're just horrible, man. You must have had a really rough Friday to have that much like pent up postseason Packer hate. Say that 10 times really fast, folks.
This isn't pent up. This is how I am on a daily basis about them. I don't store it up. I share it immediately as soon as it pops up. But hey, let me tell you a little something about my day.
Okay.
My office is supposed to have 4 of us. 2 males, 2 females. The other male has been at another office all week covering for the boss, who's been covering for the fact that we don't have a male out there. Backup male all week. I haven't had an actual lunch all week. Okay, that's fine. I think we should get rid of him altogether. I'll go back to the open to closes, not do lunch. That's fine. I can do it. I can handle it. However, a little over a month ago, they were getting ready to shift everybody around, and not my office, not the UA office, but some of the company. And there was a girl out at our Aurora office that was supposed to be coming to the North office, and she resigned the Friday before all these moves were supposed to take place. Okay. You know, these things happen. Yeah. So, in a period of 2 weeks, they decided they were going to promote one of the girls in my office, one of the UA techs in my office, to take that position 2 weeks after it happened. Okay, to be fair, it was about a week and a half after they started talking to her about it. By Friday of that week, they had her promoted, and 2 weeks after this girl resigned, the girl from my office had to start working in Brighton. Still got the other male, who's let's just leave it at that. I have the other female, and we can do this. And then the administrative assistant from across the hall turned in her notice. Okay, well, she got a better job. Fine. The opening in my office for the female that got promoted from within has not yet been filled, and they're looking to fill the administrative assistant position that has opened. So they ended up talking the other female in my office into taking that position. Great. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for the female that got promoted and sent to Aurora. What I'm not happy with is the fact that the girl went to Aurora, they haven't hired her replacement, and yet they moved the other female in my office across the hall without hiring either replacement. So today we were busy. Today I had no male backup. I had one female on site to back me up and do the female UAs in my office, and she was on the other side of the hall all day doing the job that she'd be doing. I don't know. The other girl's last day was yesterday, the administrative assistant. So today she technically started her first day at that job. So what am I supposed to do? So yeah, I've had a bad day.
Well, hopefully spending this time as part of Smash This podcast this evening will hopefully put you in a better mood. That's all I can say, man. I appreciate you being here, dude.
I'm ranting about the booking from a 10-year-old's perspective, so that's going to help.
Well, there you go. Don't we all? So, all right. Now, on to the main meat and potatoes of this show. Barring they throw any more pre-show matches at us, which I doubt. Hopefully, the only other thing I could see them doing is like some goofy Ellsworth Carmella thing, and if I jinx that, then I'm apologizing ahead of time. So let's just hope that they're no part of this show.
Well, they're probably will be, but I don't think there'll be an actual match involved. I think it'll just be a brief segment with them,
Yeah,
possibly talking to Shane McMahon about when can he have another match.
yeah, yeah. Or getting more fashion style opinions.
Sure, let's go
Especially
with that.
especially from someone like Daniel Bryan. I'm sure he would love to fill up his day with stuff like that. So, all right, on to the next match here. Paulo Cruz and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler in a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Why?
Why? Why? Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. No, I hear you. I like the whole heel turn thing for Dolph Ziggler, but I would have, like I said, I would have changed up this card a little bit. I would have put some of these guys in a match against Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship, just so that he defends this on the pay-per-view.
Okay, let me rephrase my question. Why? I'm not against the Dolph Ziggler heel turn, but okay. Ziggler was the one that said he could defeat both of them.
Yeah.
He's made a heel turn. That's not. No. You say you can beat both of them. You say you can beat both of them with one hand tied behind your back, but you don't demand the match. Okay, and as a booker, you make it look like your heel has the advantage. This doesn't look like Dolph has the advantage. Um, you're going out there and pretending like, well, we're sorry that it had to be this way, but this is what we're doing. So in a situation like this, you might say team up someone like Dolph Ziggler and The Miz against, say, Kalisto. But to put the heel on the handicap side of the handicap match, no.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's this is honestly one that could have been thrown on the pre-show as well, just because it's, I don't know.
Unfortunately, it's Ziggler, so you can't. But
Yeah.
hey, real quick, I would like to give a shout out to Paul Sweat. Paul Sweat made a post earlier today. Okay, so at like 9 o'clock this morning, my time, making fun of. Nah, I wouldn't say making fun of. He said, "No wonder the United States is looked at as a joke. This is embarrassing. It's a fourth grade science quiz called Dinosaurs: Genesis and the Gospel. And if you haven't seen this picture, uh, holy crap!" Okay. And the conversation on here has been kind of unique. I'm looking at it. Pretty much everybody in these comments are like, "What the hell is this?" I found a video, and I actually watched this a year or so ago. It's called Dinosaur Hoax Fossils, and there's this girl who is proving that dinosaur fossils are a hoax. And I said, "You think this quiz is bad? Watch this woman." Now, the whole point of this, why I'm giving the shout out to Paul Sweat, is he said, "Holy shit, I'm fucking speechless." Well done, Max. I made Paul Sweat speechless.
Nice. Yeah, shout out to Paul. Yeah, we definitely got to get him on Smash This Podcast again soon. I haven't worked with him in quite a while. I miss that guy. Tremendous mind in the world of professional wrestling. Great podcaster. We'll have to get him back on soon.
Largest arms in podcasting.
Yes, Mr. Or I should say Captain Sleeveless himself. Yes. Also tremendous beard game Mr. Sweat has. Yes. Certainly better than mine. So, all right. So back to Mr. The guy who's trying to be a bigger heel than you, but that's impossible. Dolph Ziggler. Who's going to win this 2-on-1, dude? I'm picking Ziggler. What do you think?
I honestly, when you put the heel against two faces, clearly the heel is going to cheat and win. And Ziggler is pretty damn good at cheating. However, listen, Ziggler, now that you're a heel, if you need proper representation, please feel free to give me a call.
Oh, there you go.
I've got to say that Dolph's going to win this.
Yeah, I think it is, and I've been a fan of Ziggler's for a long time. He's been the consummate like underdog in everything he's been doing over the course of the last several years since all of his injuries and everything. Hoping that they do something significant with him, and he's had some okay feuds for the IC title and stuff like that. I always felt like he was good enough for bigger things. Let's hope that maybe this heel turn will turn into something bigger for him down the road. We'll see. I don't even know how much time is honestly left on this contract.
As excited as I am about the heel turn, I think what I would have done, this is just me. I'm not saying they should have done it. I'm saying what I would have done.
Okay.
Lost the match against The Miz that said that they will never face off for that belt again.
Yeah.
I would have come out and I think I would have had Miz demand that he be fired because he couldn't perform, he couldn't pull it off. He doesn't deserve to be on the same show as Miz anymore.
Yeah.
And then have Daniel Bryan come out and say, "Listen, we found this clause in your contract." It was pointed out to us just before the show. We had an anonymous email. We've been looking into it. The attorneys say that it is ironclad. You put yourself into a match that prohibits you from ever facing off against or for that in that situation again. Basically for that title in this case. Unfortunately, because you did that, you have negated your contract because you lost that match.
That's an idea.
It's too late now.
No, yeah.
We've turned him heel, but we could have done that or had done it on SmackDown. Have Miz come out, make his demands on SmackDown, and go through that conversation. So they basically tell him, hey, due to this clause, we've got to let you go. You no longer work for SmackDown.
Wow.
What happens is you end up with Mick Foley calling him before the end of SmackDown as he's walking out of the building or something with his baggage. And Foley says, hey, come to Raw Monday night. I may have something you'd be interested in. And you have Dolph show up that Monday night, which, if I'm not mistaken, that Monday night was the night that they had him facing off with Sami Zayn and Mick Foley about the match that he wanted with Braun Strowman. So as much as I find it to have been insulting to even compare Eva Marie to someone like Sami Zayn,
yeah,
and whoever wrote that should probably be taken out back and beaten with a rubber hose. You do that, but then Dolph Ziggler's music hits, and you tell, Ziggler comes out and says, "Hey, you told me to be here tonight. I couldn't help but overhearing your conversation with Sami. I'll be that person that you trade him for."
There you go.
And I would have moved to SmackDown. I'd have had Ziggler on Raw. And here's why. One, now we have set ourselves up to where Dolph and Miz will never face off for that title again. So why don't we separate them, get them off of the show so that there's never a point where it's like, well, wait, these two should have a match right now. We take Sami Zayn off of Raw because we're honestly, all I can tell you right now is that I feel like we're on a path that leads back to Kevin versus Sami again somewhere down the road.
And yeah, I'm hoping so.
I'm not, because we booked this, not we, but you know what I mean. We booked this to where this is it. After this match, we don't face anymore. We don't face these two against each other anymore. So take your opportunity. You have this golden opportunity to write a storyline that crosses over both shows, and you switch out these two performers to where you don't set them up to face off against each other again. Now, what you've opened yourself up to is a possible Intercontinental title run for Sami Zayn, because now you have him on the same show as The Miz, and I think that would be an amazing match.
Oh, yeah.
And you could have Dolph Ziggler feuding with Jericho and Owens.
Yeah, there you go. One of my wishes for Sami Zayn, honestly, was that he was going to win the Rumble and then go on to face Kevin Owens for the championship and headline WrestleMania. I know that's kind of far fetched thinking, although, even though they've been on the same show the whole time, they've actually done a pretty good job of keeping those two apart, in my opinion, after their feud from last year. But
I feel like everything that's going on with them is leading back to them facing it again.
yeah, I mean, someday, I just hope it would have been on a bigger scale for a big title, like I said. But that's
The following week claim credit for Sami Zayn being there, which could have led into their feud.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. Who knows? But yeah, let's get back to the card here. Next match.
For something.
Miss Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. Yeah, like I said earlier, this is, I do like all three of these matches. I do appreciate the fact that they're using all of the women on this brand in this pay-per-view. But me personally, I would have taken all 6 women and put them in the first ever chamber match. But nonetheless, I do, and I've heard several different opinions as far as whether people like the fact that Mickie James is back or not. There were several different opinions while we were doing predictions on the Ramble About Wrestling show a few nights ago. But I'll reiterate mine, and we'll get to yours in a second, Max. I love what they're doing with Mickie James. I love the promo she cut on Becky Lynch. The fact that you've got a veteran working with a newer up-and-comer. Now, Becky Lynch is very talented. I'll give her that in the ring. But as far as, cutting promos back and forth, I'd rather hear someone like Mickie James cutting a big old heel promo on someone like Becky Lynch, and then Becky Lynch just, trying to kick the snot out of her, which is kind of what's happening here. You're not going to get a lot of promo work from Becky Lynch. I think that's something that she still really needs to work on. And no, I'm not referencing the rumor that was going around several months ago about the annoying accent. I'm not plugging that at all. I'm just saying in general. So I am excited about this match. I have enjoyed Mickie James since she's been back. I do think that Mickie James is going to win this one. What are your opinions on this match, Max?
I love Mickie James, don't get me wrong, but I would never, ever, and I do mean ever.
Thank you, Jericho.
I would never, ever go against my future ex-wife. I'm sorry. I have to say that Becky Lynch will win this match. As hot as Mickie James is, I'm sorry, she's no Becky Lynch. So I'm going with Becky Lynch on this.
All right.
But that's not to say that I am not uber excited for this match, and I cannot, and I'm not, and I just want to go on record and say I am totally looking forward to watching these two face off. I think this will be a great match.
Yeah, the match itself, I think is going to be great. I think Mickie James certainly still has, the talent to put on a good match. Even though she was, run over by a train in by her former employer. So how she's still wrestling today is like it's a miracle, honestly, I think.
Hey, and knowing Mickie James as well as we do, you never know. We may get some HLA out of this.
Oh dear God. Oh, that's a flashback, isn't that?
Yeah.
Good old sleazy E, yeah. All right. Next on the card here, we've got SmackDown Tag Team Championship Turmoil match with every single tag team we have that is currently existing on the SmackDown brand. We have, I'll just quick go through these here. We got the Vaudevillains.
I disagree with what you just said.
Uh-oh. How what part of that what?
Every single tag team we have on the SmackDown roster, you were kind of missing something in there. I would have said every single tag team we have on the SmackDown roster, plus the Ascension.
Oh. See, it all right. Well, you obviously are not a fan of the Ascension like I am, but that's all right. That's all right.
When they brought them up from NXT, they should have done something about this gimmick. I don't get me wrong. I'm sure Victor and Connor are very talented guys, but the gimmick isn't working. It's like that old song, "The whiskey ain't working anymore." Well, the gimmick ain't working anymore. They needed to have their gimmick switched up a long time ago. It may have gone over pretty well on SmackDown or on NXT, but it's not happening on SmackDown. Nobody is behind this gimmick. Even you're sitting here talking about how you're a fan of theirs and blah blah blah. But come on, J-Bone, even you got to admit that this gimmick just isn't working on SmackDown at all.
Well, they just haven't done anything significant with them until this last episode where they actually got a win in that the match that was on SmackDown with all the tag teams, which was like shocking, you know. Yeah, they certainly did have a rough start because they were just mocked constantly by the announcers. They instead of keeping their gimmick from NXT where they were an undefeated badass team for well over a year as NXT Tag Team Champions, then they brought up to the roster and they added the extra football padding and makeup to make them look like a modern day Road Warriors, and they just got mocked constantly, which really hurt them. You know, it's one thing to down talk a heel tag team as in, oh, why did they just do that? They shouldn't do that. Shame on them. You know, it's one thing to do something like that, but to constantly belittle them nonstop and insult them to the audience just completely ruined their reputation. And you know, I still have that glimmer of hope that they're going to do something positive with them since the brand split, and I'm hoping that this is their chance to do that. But hell, without even announcing the rest of the tag teams, the Ascension actually is my pick to win this. Believe and you can fall down and laugh as hard as you want. It's my hope that they still do something significant with this team.
Shut your mouth.
No, I know. It's not a popular opinion, but that's and no, that's not the beer talking either.
In this match.
I sincerely do, yes. Yeah, just to shake things. I'm all about shaking stuff up and shocking the audience. That's how I would book it.
I completely agree with you about shaking things up and shocking the audience. But the right way to go about that would be to put the belts on, say, the Vaudevillains, not on the Ascension. If the gimmick is not working and the fans can't get behind it, up here, Laurinaitis was meant to be a heel, right?
Oh, he was quite the heel for a long time.
Did you see the sign that night on Raw, though?
What's that?
Did you see the sign that they had on Raw one night?
Oh God, no! I don't know what side you're talking about.
There was a sign in the audience where this fan held it up and it said something along the lines of, um, "We are not booing you for the quality of your heel. We are booing you." Oh, here we go. "Sir, I feel compelled to stress that we are not booing because of your effective heel work. We are booing because you are simply awful."
Yeah, it was not heel heat, it was go away heat. Yeah, yeah. And I felt the same way. I could not stand him. Yeah.
And right now, and this is nothing against Laurinaitis for the record, because personally I like Laurinaitis. I just don't think they had him in the right role. But I think that, you know, right now, the Ascension is the equivalent of Laurinaitis. Um, the fans are not booing them because they're effective heel work. They're booing them because they don't like the gimmick. It's not a good thing in this case. And the thing about it is, if you want to get your fans to be more behind them, putting the title on them is not going to do it. You're not just going to piss off the IWC, and I guarantee you, it will piss off the IWC. Not because they've been asking for it, but because by the Ascension getting those. But you're going to piss off the universe too, because to them they're going to wonder, well, why do the Ascension deserve the tag team titles? And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm sure they're talented guys. I said that before. I'm sure they're talented guys, but in this current incarnation, in this current gimmick, it's not working. It's time. Um, it's time to change up their gimmick and putting the belt on them. To go about it. Hold off on the belt until we get a better gimmick for these two, and then put the belt on them.
I hear you. I hear you. So you're saying you're not a fan of the new face paint they've been wearing?
I'm not a fan of the current incarnation. They're that you can change the face paint all you want, but until
Yeah.
you change the gimmick as a whole, it's not going to work. The
Yeah,
face
I
paint
hear
doesn't really change the gimmick like you think it would.
you. Yeah.
You know, really though, if I was going to pick a team out of this match, then I would go, hey, I'd love to see them win it. Uh, uh, I would love to see the American Alpha retain. But if I had to see someone take the belt, the Vaudevillains would be my number one choice out of the remaining teams.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I honestly think that they've been underutilized as well. You know, I don't know what if they've got some kind of heat, you know, some backstage politics going against them that they've been like off TV so often, or just completely and brutally embarrassed on TV as well. You know, almost worse than the Ascension, because like, you know, whatever match or whatever they're part of, they're thrown out almost immediately. Um, I don't know. So who do you think? I mean, who do you want or think is gonna take the
Personally,
champion?
I want American Alpha to retain.
Okay.
Uh, and they have the belts. I want them to.
Okay.
Honestly, though, I think that it'll probably come down to it going back to Slater and Rhino.
Really?
I think they're going to put the belts back on Slater and Rhino. I think that right after the match, after Heath Slater and Rhino win, I think the Usos are going to attack Slater and Rhino. And I think we're going to go into a feud between those two teams. I mean, like a legit, actual feud, not like before where, at the last minute they substituted in the Usos in place of American Alpha.
Huh. That's interesting. Because out of all the teams that are on SmackDown, I would have broken up Rhino and Slater like right after they lost the belts. Like they actually looked like they were going to, because Rhino turned on Slater, and I thought
Here, here,
that was the end of them. You know, didn't you think that or no?
well, here's my thing with this. When I first heard that these two were going to tag team, whose twisted mind came up with that? And
Say that.
then
Say that again.
I said, when I first heard these two were going to be a tag team, I was like, whose twisted mind came up with that?
As far as putting them together, yeah.
Yeah, and then I realized, damn, these two were actually pretty decent together. These two seem like a legit team to me. These two have chemistry. And honestly, I'm at a point right now where I think, to me, outside of American Alpha and the New Day, and I can't remember the name, the Club. Damn, I don't know how I didn't catch that sooner. Outside of those teams, I think Slater and Rhino have the most chemistry as a team, in my opinion. They seem more like an actual tag team than anything else going right now.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't want to like them as a team. Just to be honest, when I first heard that this was a thing, I'm like, that should never be a thing. God, I need to, if that's really a thing. I didn't want it to happen, but they got chemistry, and those two are good as a team.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have some chemistry. As awkward as it is, yeah. Because I mean Slater really did build up a lot of, it's like he renewed his fan base in the light of, going back and forth between brands trying to get a contract. He became like the big underdog that people were rooting for, and yeah. And Rhino is a hell of a worker. Out of all like the veterans that they've A brought back and B called back from whatever, they used him a lot down in NXT, and the fact that they actually brought him up from NXT, from working with the kids down there. I was honestly really shocked, you know. So, but the guy's still, he's not the best wrestler on the planet, but for what he does, he can still perform well in the ring, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Sure, what we were just talking about.
The SmackDown Tag Team Championship turmoil match. As far as who's going to win it.
Right. I want American Alpha to retain. I want them to.
Okay.
Like I said, I Slater and Rhino though.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's see. Let's get to the next match here. We've got Nikki Bella versus Natalya. I'm actually looking forward to this match. I know this feud has been going on for several months now, and it feels like it finally has reached a breaking point. Like a climax of sorts, I guess you could say that, if you want to get excited. If this helps get you excited for this match, I'll say this rivalry is at its climax, I think.
I don't really think I'll climax with this match.
No, I don't know. There was. Did you see the last interview between these two? This last SmackDown.
JAYBONE, this match shouldn't have been on the card. This should have been an Elimination Chamber match. No. No.
No, I hear you. No, yeah, like I said at the beginning of this show tonight, I would have taken all the women that are on this card and thrown them in the Elimination Chamber match. I think that would have been a better way to utilize all the women, as brutal as that is. But
it's possible that the reason they didn't is you got a feud here that we're working on, and hopefully this is the last match in the feud. Honestly, so you've got to. You got to have your feud match, and Becky Lynch versus Mickie James was just too enticing of an idea to pass up on. But maybe we do Mickie and Natty at I don't know. Is there another pay per view now in Mania for SmackDown. Maybe we do it at that one. And tonight we have Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. We put Nikki and Natty into the Elimination Chamber, and there's two more divas on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, there's another match. There's the championship match.
I think you misunderstood the question. I said there's two other divas on, besides the 6 that are booked on the show, there's 2 other divas on SmackDown, right?
Oh, you talking about as far as like you mean Carmella?
There's Carmella, and isn't there one more?
Yeah, and she's off doing her own thing now. She hasn't been on the show in several months. She's off making movies and stuff. That would be Eva Marie. I don't think she's going to be back anytime soon. In fact, I think she's got one foot out the door.
Hold on. She does not count.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, if there's one more female wrestler besides Carmella and the 6 on the
card. If there is, well, unless you want to consider Maurice, but she really hasn't been in the ring outside of being a valet for Miz.
Oh, there's got to be another one.
I don't think there is, but I'll quick look up the superstars on SmackDown. Let's see, current SmackDown Live. All right, here we go. Andrea DeMarco. No, she's like an interviewer. Okay, so we got Bliss, we've got Becky Lynch, Carmella, Dasha Fuentes. Why is she on the SmackDown roster? Whatever. She's another like interviewer. Let's see. Okay, Eva Marie, Mickie James, the Spirit Squad. Oh no, the Spirit. No. Sorry, that didn't mean to mention the Spirit Squad. Natalya, Nikki Bella, and Renee Young, and she's not a wrestler, so no, there isn't.
No, there's got to be.
I bypassed Maurice, but I already mentioned her. So no, that's it. Unless that's someone on camera that is not on the roster here, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So, but anyways, yeah, I like this. I like this feud. I feel like when this feud started several months ago, last fall, I didn't like it, but now the fact that these two, every time they meet, they're just kicking the snot out of each other, and I don't know. There's something about that these two always get their hands on each other, and like they're it's just all of a sudden violence. I like it. It finally got to the point where it drew me in, and I actually like the feud. Two veteran women on this roster just kicking a snot out of each other, and they haven't, put on a 5-star match. They've just been meeting in the hallway. Their last meeting at the end of this last Talking Smack, where Natalya actually pulled Nikki Bella and bashed her face off the underside of the interview desk, whatever you want to call it, desk on Talking Smack. And so, yeah, that was one of those things where it was like, oh, and then also on top of hearing the little things in the news about Nikki Bella's future in wrestling being questionable, that she might retire after this next WrestleMania because of her health issues. I think this is going to be wrapping up her wrestling career, and what better way to do it than with a veteran like Natalya. I can see this match being possibly either the end of this, or then she's going to have one last run over the next several weeks leading up to one big thing at Mania. But, possibly, going against Alexa Bliss. What better way to do it? But, yeah, I like this feud. But I think somehow, some way, Nikki Bella is going to come out with a win this Sunday because she just got the snot kicked out of her by Natalya this week, big time. What are your thoughts? I know you're not a big fan of this, but who do you think is going to win this one?
Well, honestly, this probably should mark the end of this feud. This match should. To do that, you have to have a Nikki Bella victory. So that's what I'm going
with. Okay. All right. Let's see. What's next here? We got Luke Harper versus Randy Orton. No stipulation in this. Like you mentioned earlier, I think it would have been kind of cool to put something on the line like the option of headlining WrestleMania. If Orton put that on the line, but I don't think there wasn't time enough to do that. If they had an extra couple weeks, they could have managed that somehow. But honestly, I mean the feud going on inside the Wyatt family all makes sense. So the match makes sense. It's just, they didn't have time to mess with it more, or, honestly, in my opinion, I wouldn't have Orton in a match at all this pay-per-view. Just have him kind of in the background, lurking around, observing everything, because just knowing his health issues, if I'm a top booker or running SmackDown behind the scenes or whatever, my goal at this point, if you're having Randy Orton headline WrestleMania in whatever match it is, I want him as healthy as possible. So I would keep him out of the ring as much as possible, including this Sunday. But nonetheless, and I don't really think it matters whether Randy Orton wins or loses. Honestly, I like the fact that they're giving Luke Harper a chance to shine a little as a solo guy. I mean, even though this is all revolving around the Wyatt family issues, the fact that he's kind of stepped out, away from that, and he's in this match with Randy Orton, I think, honestly, Harper's going to win this one. What are your thoughts on this, Max?
I'm actually pretty excited about this match. I think that these two can work a great match together. The storyline going into this, the rumblings I'm hearing is that the whole point of Orton joining the Wyatt family was to tear it apart from the inside, and he's that. Outside of taking down Bray himself, which now you've removed Bray's backup, removed the man who watches Bray's back, and inserted yourself as that replacement. So who watches his back as you stab it? Honestly, for me, this has major connotations as we move forward, especially if we take into consideration the next match we're going to discuss. If you're Bray Wyatt, okay, do you go after the guy that's currently having your back, or do you go after the guy who's been one of your family members for been Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We could really start the Orton Bray Wyatt feud this weekend, honestly. Bray comes out and delivers Abigail's kiss to Orton, and that forward into the main event could set up for the main event that everybody has predicted for WrestleMania. That the only reason I'm not happy about it is because they've all said that they have a source that says this is what's going to happen. But I really think that there are so many things you could do with this match to really invest everybody in moving forward with it, despite the fact you only had 2 weeks to promote it. This match right here could be your pay-per-view with all the other mistakes you've made.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to say that in the end, I think Randy Orton's going to. You want him going into WrestleMania strong out of this pay-per-view. You want him to defeat the SmackDown champion, and to do that, the best thing you need to do is have him defeat um, Luke Harper.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see both sides of it, the psychology behind, this guy winning or that guy winning. Yeah, I hear you. All right. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all and how it all affects the main event as well. You could certainly see some shenanigans coming out of this, depending on what happens, affecting the Elimination Chamber match. We've certainly seen that in the past of surprise, people showing up out of nowhere. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And hell, I think we still don't even know exactly what Taker's going to do at Mania, if he's even going to be a part of Mania. So yeah, I don't put it behind having someone like Taker show up inside the Chamber match. Who knows? We'll have to see. Let's see. Next match, SmackDown Women's Championship match between the champ Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. I have absolutely no doubt that Alexa Bliss is going to hang on to the championship at this time, but I'm also in some ways, knowing what Naomi has been through ever since the demise of the cheerleading squad that she was a part of, being a valet for what the hell was his name? He went to SmackDown. He's now known as Tyrus. What did they call him?
Oh, he's not on. He didn't go to SmackDown. He went to the other company.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm saying, what did they used to call him in the WWE?
He was the Funkasaurus.
Funkasaurus. Yeah. Anyways, just she went from always being a valet for him, and then really kicking in her wrestling career, so to speak, and then having so many ups and downs, injuries, plans for utilizing her, and then they didn't. This is bittersweet for Naomi, that she's finally getting put in a women's championship match, and I think it's been a long time coming for her. I mean, is she athletic? Yes. Is she the best women's wrestler? No. But I'm still happy for her that she's having this opportunity. But I don't think it's her. I don't think it's her time yet. I can see her losing here and then getting some kind of match in like a 3-way or 4-way against Bliss at Mania, and possibly shaking things up around Mania and getting the championship then. Maybe. We'll have to see. But for now, for this Sunday, I say Bliss retains. And Who knows? Maybe La Luchadora will show up and help out Bliss again. Who knows? But yeah, I suppose we can't do that because that's already out of the bag who that was. So unless they're going to bring in someone new under that mask, that'd be kind of funny. What do you think, dude? What are your thoughts on this match, and who do you think is going to win, Max?
I think I made it pretty clear that I'm disdainful of that I'm pretty disdainful of Naomi. I think Alexa is pretty talented, though, in my opinion. And
oh yeah, dude. As far as women growing in this brand, Alexa Bliss has completely floored everyone, I think.
right, and I like her. I think she's talented. I think she's doing a great job bringing the proper shine to that belt. So I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss to retain.
All right. Do you think Naomi is going to be champ someday, or don't you think she's ever going to get that rub?
If I was the booker for the WWE, she'd never get that rub. I'm not the booker, so maybe one day, just not yet.
I hear you. Oh yeah, I think she still needs to work on some wrestling skills. Certainly shows off her athleticism on her way to the ring. Trying to spread the glow or whatever the hell they call that. But man, but you know what? Whenever she does that like slide down the ramp on her knees, oh man. Speaking from a guy that does have bad knees, that's painful to watch. It really is. And I'm like, man, someday that's she's gonna wish she didn't do that, but yeah, I digress. All right, so on to the main event, the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. With the following in the match, we've got the Young Buck of sorts, Baron Corbin, versus The Miz, versus Dean Ambrose, versus Bray Wyatt, versus AJ Styles, versus the newly crowned 16-time champion, John Cena. The Elimination Chamber match has always been one of my favorites since its inception, created by none other than Mr. Sleazy E himself, Eric Bischoff. I think before the kickoff this Sunday, I'm going to go back and watch a few of the older ones myself and just watch how these, there were some stinker Elimination Chamber matches where, it didn't seem like, okay, for example, like last year's. I felt they could have done so much more with last year's, and they didn't even have a championship match in the Elimination Chamber. Now, I don't remember all my opinions from last year, but I can tell you right now, I would have better utilized that back then. So yeah, I'm happy that they brought this back. It's brutal. It's violent. It's one of my favorite things to play as far as like the video games. If that throw that aspect in there too. Chaos. We've had surprise attacks, like I've mentioned before. Man, I'm really stoked for this. Certainly a lot of different ways that this one can go. Me personally, who is going to win this one? I think my answer is going to shock some people. I think a lot of people are assuming it's going to be Bray Wyatt. But me personally, I'm going to pick the guy who is actually one of my favorites to win the Royal Rumble, and I think he should have, but he didn't. I think that The Miz should win this and go on to recreate the Miz versus John Cena several years later, because honestly, I think The Miz is deserving of it. And to see where The Miz has come since he headlined several years ago with John Cena, and also throw the comeback of The Rock in there. And no, I don't think he's going to be part of this WrestleMania. But I would love to see that rivalry rejuvenated at this WrestleMania and see that match again. Because, I mean, honestly, I think John is a much different person now. I think he's a much better wrestler than he was back then. And I think The Miz, by all matters, has become a much better performer inside of the ring and outside of the ring since then as well. And I would love to see it all go down again this April 1st. So my pick to win it, even though everybody's looking at guys like AJ and Bray Wyatt, is The Miz. Now, of course, you would have The Miz versus John Cena would want his title shot back, which actually would mean it would be a... Well, unless, Randy Orton jumps ship and like freaks everyone out and goes after the Universal Championship, which I don't think that's going to happen. It would end up being a three-way: Randy Orton versus Miz versus John Cena, which I think that would be tremendous as well. But there's so many different ways this could go. I'm even hearing a lot of people say that they want Baron Corbin to win this one, just to, like I said earlier, shake things up. What do you think, dude?
Sorry, I got caught up on something.
Good sneaking in the neighbors' backyards.
Sorry. Honestly, this is probably going to be my third favorite match, and if you've been paying attention, there's only going to be 4 matches on this card that I'm going to get behind. Honestly, if one part of the prediction hadn't come true already, as a hope, because I think he deserves it. But honestly, the prediction's already been put out there. The leaking of the backstage information. Sadly, I'm pretty sure we're looking at Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania in the main event. That being said, I really think that I would like out of this match for Baron Corbin to step it up.
Okay. That would certainly shock a lot of people. He's had kind of a bumpy start. I mean, he's had some really positive moments since joining the main roster. He won the Andre the Giant match. Was that last year or the year before that?
I believe that was last year.
That was last year. Cesaro won the first one. I think that's what that was. Yeah. But then, he was in pre-show hell for a long time with, was it Dolph Ziggler or Kalisto? One of the two.
Yeah, with Kalisto.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and honestly, I think Baron Corbin has come a long way, and the fact that they're taking the time to give him attention, that they put him at ringside at the announcer table to talk himself up, talk about whatever rivalry is going on at the moment, or even putting him on Talking Smack with Daniel Bryan and Renee Young. He's been on like almost every other week, talking about stuff. And
at WrestleMania 30, you had Cesaro win by eliminating Big Show. At WrestleMania 31, you had Big Show win by eliminating Damien Mizdow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Last year, Corbin won by eliminating Kane.
Well, at least they don't have him bringing that trophy out every week again. You know, that was kind of a
Yeah, but he's the way he's playing his gimmick. He doesn't see the need to bring it out every week. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying that they started out doing that. You know, they bring it
I
out
mean, I would
every
like
week, and
I think that if he stepped it up and won this match, there would be a shakedown from the top of the food chain down.
oh yeah, it would shake up things all over the place.
Corbin versus Randy Orton, man, at WrestleMania would probably be a match.
Now, would you take John? See, that's the thing. Everyone's talking about Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. If John Cena loses, he should get a rematch. Do you think they're just going to do that on SmackDown? Because they've been throwing a lot of really big championship matches for whatever championship it is, headlining the SmackDown brand. Do you think they're just going to do that as a just a regular SmackDown Live headliner? Or do you think they're going to throw John Cena in the mix in the main event as well to try to get his title back?
I think we'll see the John Cena rematch on SmackDown.
And then
And
maybe someone interferes and that causes the John Cena / whoever match at WrestleMania. Maybe.
I don't personally. I don't see John Cena having a match at Mania. I think he's about to leave temporarily. I think he's going to drop the belt, leave for a little bit, come back, and become the 17-time WWE.
Could be. Yeah, his future certainly is a giant question mark because he does have all these other things going on between hosting the morning show, what is that, Good Morning America or whatever. He's always got some kind of movie project in the works. In fact, he's got that one movie coming up. What the hell is it called? It's some kind of war movie, and it actually looks like a very good one. I don't know when that's coming out, but I saw the trailer for it recently. So I'm sure he's going to promote that in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, who knows?
He's in Baywatch soon.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm messing with you. It's The Rock that's in Baywatch.
Oh, I was going to say if he's got a part in there with The Rock and Zach Efron, thank you.
Yeah, I was messing with you. It's The Rock.
Because I'll give it to John Cena. He's played some really one-off, really wacky roles. He's not always. I mean, he started out with the Marine and then did 12 rounds, but since then he's been like all over the place, playing dramatic roles, comedic roles, just all sorts of crazy shit. So I'll give him that. He certainly is.
It takes place on a beach. He could be a muscle-bound dickhead that kicks sand in somebody's face.
And then The Rock kicks his ass.
Sure, why
not? Who seriously would not want to see The Rock kick his ass one more time? I'd be for that. I'd buy a ticket to see that. So your pick is Baron Corbin to shake things up at the end here. Yeah, as much as I'd like to see Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, there are matches to headline WrestleMania that I would rather see. So, and that's one thing about this coming WrestleMania is that As much as people are saying, "Oh, we've already got the entire card booked," um, we have very few matches that are guaranteed to be on that card. We've got Lesnar and Goldberg. We've got Shaq versus Big Show. Beyond that, there's a lot of question marks, and I don't think, as much as people want to talk about this match or that match, I don't think a lot of them are guaranteed. Especially with injuries like we just had Seth Rollins injured, you know?
So, well, actually, it's looking like it'll probably be Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns at Mania, since Rollins is out with an injury. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but it looks like that's the substitution they're putting in. However,
could be.
Hold on. However, I disagree. I think they've set up for something else. I think we already know who the dead man's opponent is for WrestleMania.
You talking about Undertaker?
Do you know another dead man in the WWE?
I'd say whoever is Samoa Joe's next opponent, I'd consider him a dead man.
I think they've already foreshadowed that they're building up to Taker versus Reigns for Mania.
Yeah. Especially the way that Undertaker looked at Roman Reigns after eliminating him. Yeah, I can see that. You know, and I'm okay with that. I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that wanted something different, like John Cena versus Taker, but
honestly, and I said this at the Royal Rumble results show, maybe. I love Taker. I've been a huge fan of him for a great many years. He needs to retire.
Yeah.
I think that his time is done. I think he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year and be done with it. And I know he loves this business, and there's no accounting for heart. And he's been very entertaining over the years to us, but I think he's earned his retirement.
Yeah, you know, and it's hard. I kind of compare, and you're gonna chuckle at this because we talked about this at the start of the show. I can kind of compare it to when everyone was saying that Brett Favre should retire. Okay. And the same aspect of so many fans, like you just said, think that Undertaker should retire. And yet, if you look at the man himself, he's done this for so long. Who should be the one to tell him, okay, your time is up, you should be done? Where if that's all he's got, you know what I mean?
The boss. He's got a tight relationship with the boss. If I was Triple H or Vince McMahon or Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon,
yeah,
I would think that it would be my job that I sit him down and say, listen, we want to thank you for everything you've done, for all the years of entertainment, but we think it's time for you to hang up your boots. It's that time. And here's the thing: after his match with Brock, he wasn't doing well after that match.
No, I mean, it was documented that he collapsed,
Right. And my understanding is after the Rumble backstage, he wasn't doing too well either, this year's Rumble.
Yeah. He had some kind of hip surgery to get him through the next several months before he has his major hip surgery. And yeah, he didn't look well. I'd have to go back and watch the whole thing, but from the opinions that I've heard since the Rumble, as exciting as it was to see him be a part of it, he just wasn't doing well.
And honestly, I think it's time. I think that he's earned it. I think he needs to take his health into consideration. It's time. It really is. It's time.
I mean, he's still raising kids, for crying out loud. He just had a kid a few years ago with Michelle McCool. So,
Right.
As much as he is at home helping raise kids and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see him put himself in a wheelchair because of his love for this business. And honestly, I think that's the road he's on if he does too many more matches. I think at this point, let's just call it. We've had a great career. We, the fans, have had an impressive run. And there's going to be the fans that are going to sit there at the Hall of Fame and they're going to chant one more match at him.
Oh, they do that every single time HBK pokes his head out of the curtain.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I just think that it's time.
Yeah.
It is. And if anybody in this business has earned their retirement, I mean, literally earned it, it's him.
Oh, yeah.
That man deserves to retire and enjoy what he's created.
Yeah. The last of a generation of icons from, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've voiced my opinion on that too here and there over the last couple of years, saying it's his time. He should, hang up the boots. And I know that's hard. It's you've got your favorites who you want to see go on forever, but let's be honest. Yeah, I can agree with that opinion. I hear you. Yeah, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how the rest of this road carries onto WrestleMania over the course of the next month or so, or just less than 2 months, I guess. So, any last thoughts on this Sunday's show, Elimination Chamber, before we wrap this up, Max?
I think that overall we're going to have a good show. I think that there's a couple of booking mistakes in there. I think that what SmackDown has done recently, this may not be the right time to do some of the things they've done, and I really think they should have stepped it up with. I think they should step it up with the Elimination Chamber for the women's title. Honestly, to have an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view with only one Elimination Chamber match seems like you're falling a little short of your potential.
Yeah.
I still think we're going to get a good card out of this. You got a couple of great matches on this card. You got Harper and I think is going to be amazing. Even with the Ascension in there, I think you got a great tag team turmoil match. I still think it should have been in the chamber. In fact, I heard they were planning on putting it in the chamber.
I hope they do.
Becky Lynch versus Mickie James should be a spot on. It should be one of the best matches on the card. And then your title match is going to bring the house down.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, obviously there is certainly a lot of open spots for shenanigans across this pay-per-view. Do you think there is a chance, even though it's been publicly stated that he will not be a part of anything coming up, do you think there's a chance we could see a surprise showing of Kurt Angle over the course of this show? I think it would be a perfect opportunity for him to show up, like, say, during the chamber match or something like that.
For me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, why would he pop up for any of these matches? I don't see it. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't feel like there'd be any sense behind it, honestly. In fact, if I was to have him show up, it would be for some kind of Raw match, honestly. This, to me, it doesn't feel like any of these matches have a spot that seems to fit Angle.
Yeah. I know he's got some match coming up this weekend with Alberto Del Rio. I do not remember where the show is or what day it lands on. It could very well be this Sunday, but nonetheless, we could always hope, for the fans out there that want Angle to have one last match. There are rumors about him and AJ Styles possibly having a match. Would you like to see something like that, or no? Let me ask you this: would you rather see Styles versus Angle, or would you rather see Styles versus Shane McMahon?
Honestly, neither.
Really?
Let's be honest about this. I think Styles versus Shane McMahon is a little bit late to the party, in my opinion. If you were going to do that, we should have found a way to do it years ago. I mean, right now, I honestly don't think Shane needs to be in any more matches. Styles versus Angle, didn't we already see that?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who never watched TNA and could give, honestly, two craps about Angle or Styles, what they accomplished in TNA Impact. So to see it on a much grander scale, as opposed to some little studio in Florida down during Impact tapings, I'd like to see it on a much grander scale. Like, it's the same thing you could say about rivalries like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that fought for years all over the indies, and now they finally had a chance to put that rivalry to a bigger crowd and show folks how good it is. You know what I mean?
While I see TNA as a complete shit fed right now, to be fair, you're comparing them to the indies, and they had more national exposure than the indies, even though it wasn't worthy exposure, and it was kind of bad, honestly. Whereas Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens being on the indies and then doing it on the grander stage, that was awesome. Angle versus Styles was a highly televised event, though. So to me, they've already been on a grander stage because they've done it on television.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. Well, so that's going to do it for this Elimination Chamber preview and prediction show for Smash This Podcast. Max Magius, even though you're the biggest heel in the room right now, I still greatly appreciate you being on for this.
So when are you going to get me that $20 you promised me?
Yeah, we'll talk about that off the air. We'll work something out, okay? That I don't discuss business on the air. So, that's private stuff.
You're gonna welch on this deal. You got me on the show. You got me to do the entire thing. And now you're not gonna pay me like you promised me.
Oh, look, they're turning the lights out on us, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Smash This Podcast. For this guy over here, I'm JAYBONE. Good night, all.